All right, y'all. Yes, I am back to Marvel Strike Force, and it's been a long 7-month hiatus. And I'm gonna be real with you. I kind of don't know what I'm doing right now, so I figured let me make what do you do when you're returning to MSF, and I'm gonna be doing that with my guy because listen, man, we used to do roster review videos all the time, so I figured why not have you come in and tell me what the hell to do now in MSF that I've been gone for 7 months.
Man, when I got the message, I was like, yes, let's go. Let's go. It's been too long, man.
Well, on the real though, I heard the game is in a much better place right now. A lot of people are having a little bit more fun, and you, my friend, you're even going back to the roots, the beginning.
Yeah, we starting over.
Starting all over again. More power to you. I'm not quite sure if I would do it, but seriously though, on the real, like what? Coming back to MSF right now, and one of the things that I asked, was really kind of what are the most important game modes? Because I remember when I left, it was like, okay, you got to build for raids, you got to work on your arena teams. There's Cosmic Crucible. But what's really sort of like the proper order now to focus on in terms of arena? And then we can talk about individual teams and things like that too.
Yeah, I mean, like always, raid is kind of the top dog of the game mode, right? That's where you're going to get your T4s. That's where you get an influx of gear to your team, so you're not reliant on any sort of other store currencies. You're getting a decent amount of gold from there now, and they're also doing, and I guess they're only doing one more for now, they said in the last blog. Okay. But they're putting diamond characters in the raid seasonal rewards, and I think they said they're either going to put no, it's War and Crucible that's getting gold training materials. Yeah. But so besides training materials and besides like diamond orbs, raids kind of covers you in everything. So raids are definitely the top dog still to focus on.
Yeah, and I gotta ask a question too. So like for diamonds, like if you're coming back to MSF, you're like, what in the world are diamonds?
Diamonds are your 8th, 9th, and 10th red star without having to fill in the yellow stars before it. That's all it is. You need to have the 7th red stars and the 7th yellow stars filled to activate the diamonds. Right. And for somebody coming back, if you don't have 7 red stars on everything, like you don't have 7 red stars on your Psylocke, your Nemesis, you kind of like, you get diamonds from Cosmic Crucible. If it's on a good character, then you try and chase that character's red stars. They're giving away a lot of gold promos now, so you can kind of target farm a character every now and again right to 7 red stars, as long as you have the yellows. Okay. And that's how you would approach diamonds. You don't have your roster completely decked out, so you wait till it comes to you and you follow it, just like when you first started the game you would follow your red stars. Now you follow diamonds. Okay, and we're going to talk like specifically about what teams and some characters to focus on here, but the farming improvement is there too. So for a lot of players that are probably wondering about, my account's going to be way too far behind, the farming system is improved now. What's their cadence now at this point? So the cadence is a character is supposed to be farmable within 4 months of their release. Okay. And by 6 months, you should be able to have them at 7 yellow stars. That's what they claim. Now, they say there's going to be some one-offs. Of course. Obviously, legendary characters, that depends on your input on what you're going to get there. And maybe a character like Kang that probably hold on to for an extra month or two. Zombie Juggernaut's a good example. We're probably not going to see Zombie Juggernaut until next October.
All right, so we're talking about some new characters here already. You said Zombie Juggernaut. What are the top tier teams right now? So if we're prioritizing, you're saying raids is still the top priority, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So what are the top raid teams right now to focus on in MSF at this current moment?
So the even skill, it's all doable right now. So Bifrost is going to be your Mystic team. Okay. Pegasus is going to be your tech team. Now those are two older-ish teams. They're going to definitely carry you through this current raid tier. Okay. But next raid tier, they're probably both going to get zoned out.
So Bifrost is the Mystic team right now, and that's who you should be building for your Mystic raids. But you're saying that this team probably is going to be out on the backside, the back road. Now, is this team any good anywhere else outside of raids? Because while raids are important, there has to be some sort of value that they provide outside of that. So what about this Bifrost team? Is it going to be good anywhere else other than just in the raids?
Nah, this team is hot garbage. They had a Crucible season where they were good. This is going to be the team you want to focus on min-maxing the most. Like, you only want to put exactly what you need in this team to get through the raids.
Okay, so this may not even be relevant depending on who's watching this video at this point in time. They may not even want to even look at this Bifrost team. And then you said Pegasus, that's your tech raid team, right? Mm-hmm. That you're going to want to build. Now, You do have at least 2 older characters. As you can see, I don't have these 2 characters as of yet. MK is farmable now in that War Store, and Darkhawk is a farmable on the node right now. So we're getting closer to him, and Infinity War, I think, is also in the Crucible store. But there's these 2 characters. Kestrel, you're obviously going to be building for APOC. We're going to talk about whether or not APOC is really relevant anymore. But this Pegasus team is your tech raid team. They're good anywhere else outside of raids right now? Or is this like, yo, once again, sunken cost?
They are surprisingly good in niche situations.
Okay.
And used on the offensive side. So the team is innately slow and is vulnerable to somebody like Icarus who can come and flip it. So they're not great on defense, right, but on offense, they're actually so tanky that when you take it into certain teams like Gamma, they kind of just absorb all the hits and then they hit them back twice as hard because they got those new character stats.
Okay.
So this team does have niche value. Like Bifrost, it was released to be the answer for the last raid tier, but like right at the very tail end. So I'm going to be interested to see how Pegasus will handle the next raid tier. Because also Ironheart is giving the team 75% speed bar on spawn.
Okay.
So for Scopely to figure out how to counter Pegasus, they couldn't figure out how to counter the invaders for this raid tier. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pegasus actually has a lot more left in the tank.
Okay. Got you. All right, and then the next team right now, then this is a newer one. We haven't talked about it yet, but I know the Extreme team. This is the new hotness right now. Is this Extreme team? So a lot of these characters aren't farmable as of yet, right? We're gonna have to wait a couple weeks, months, or whatever before that becomes an option. The Strike Pass is going on right now, but of course, if you're coming in watching this video a month or 2 months from now, they're probably gonna be farmable at the moment. But you see this team probably potentially, we talked about this before the video, being definitely in the meta for quite some time.
Yeah, this may be a top 3 cookie cutter team in the game right now.
Okay.
And even without their raid value, say 6 months from now, Gambit and Nightcrawler, they're going to have crazy value in Crucible for many years to come with their stats and what Nightcrawler does as a plug and play character. He's going to have use even further beyond that. This is a run double walk team. When you get these guys unlocked, start building them up. As you can build up their stars, do that, and you're not going to regret it on these guys. They're used in every mode. Okay,
all right, that sounds pretty good. And then we're kind of missing some teams, right? I know there's going to be a new Hive Mind team that is currently going to be the new raid team for the bio section. I don't know how to spell, so just give me a second here. All right, there we go. So we got this new Hive Mind team. Carnage and Venom, they're getting reworked. There's going to be a Red Goblin coming into the game. That's going to be a new character for this team. And then, of course, Gwenum, her offers are there. And then Void Knight, one of those newer characters, too. So his event is actually going on right now. Right now, unfortunately, they're not working properly, right? I think Gwenum is a little bugged right now at the moment. Where do you see this team landing in terms of being relevant for a player to build? Because while raids are important, will they need to build this team? It's kind of incomplete, right? Because we don't have Red Goblin yet.
This is a tough one because I know Red Goblin's kit, and I'm going to be allowed to talk about it soon, but not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So let me
we'll
break the rules a little bit. No, let me break the rules a little bit for you.
Okay.
This team is going to be more like Pegasus than Bifrost or Extreme.
Okay.
They're going to have some good use everywhere.
Okay.
And they're going to be so good in raids. They're definitely going to be using the next raid tier. So these guys are still, if you're watching this, in 2024, this is still going to be the bio team you want to race to.
Okay. All right. And so that's raids. Now, Arena, this is a tough one. If you've been out for like how long I've been out for 7 months, Arena is just kind of, you just do what you got to do, right? Because you're not really going to be able to build for the meta right now. Me coming back, there's Sus that's in there. There's Secret Defenders that's in there. Really, you probably shouldn't try to build specifically for Arena. You kind of just do what you got to do and move on. Is that kind of like the plan until that new Arena meta comes out, right?
Yeah, like you're just missing so many tools at this point, and not having Skrull. The second you run into that Skrull wall in your Arena, you're not getting past it without Skrull. And if you don't have the big boy apocalypse, it's very similar when you run into the apocalypse wall in your arena. So until you have the new tools, and they're actually moving and that's what you got right now. Okay,
this is what I got right now. I can't get past this right here. Like I can't even touch. I can't even think about touching that right there. Secret Defenders. Right. I can't touch them.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. So it's exactly what you said. Like, you're going to wait till the next meta comes. Fortunately, they've been shifting the arena meta so much with new characters. Like, when Nightcrawler came out, he affected it. Void Knight, when he came out, he affected it. Goblin affected it. So it seems like the arena meta is evolving so much faster than it used to do back in the day, where it used to be like the arena team was the arena team for a full year. That's not the case anymore. So luckily, you're going to be able to kind of get back into it faster. But I see you're at 200, and I think 250 is one of the break points. So if you're coming back and you're able to hang in there, then I think you're doing good. Yeah, 250 is one of the break points.
Yeah,
I think you're doing very good. Just holding it down in the top 100 to 250, given how long you've been gone for.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best that I could have hoped for. I knew that top 100 was going to be highly unlikely, especially considering that a lot of the people that are at the very top tier in my arena shard they have Apocalypse, they have Big Boy Apocalypse, because I only have Baby Apocalypse. They have Big Boy Apocalypse, They have Super Scroll. There's just no possible way for me to battle through that. Now, when it comes to Cosmic Crucible, that's another game mode here. Should people be building for Cosmic Crucible? Could that potentially be a trap if people are doing that? There's a lot of really good rewards that are in the store for a player, but trying to build specifically for Cosmic Crucible, is that something that's what somebody should do?
Well, the fortunate part about Cosmic Crucible is there's so much overlap between Cosmic Crucible and War that when you can kind of build for both at the same time. Now, you're not going to be the most optimal, but you're going to be hitting enough that you're going to be able to be slightly competitive. And then when we have crazy teams like the Extreme team come out and they're using all the modes, that's another team that you build and it hits all the markers, right?
Okay.
So fortunately, you kind of do it by accident in a lot of ways.
Okay. So what are the teams that you would say? So obviously your raid teams, some of those are going to overlap into a Pegasus. You're going to have your Hive Mind. You're going to have your oh my goodness, extreme team. You're going to have that. So that's going to overlap. So you're going to have 3 teams there already, at least, that you can use either on offense or on defense. What other teams are relevant? Because to be honest with you, some players may already have some of what I have. Like, I have New Warriors, right? I can use them still in Cosmic Crucible. I have Masters of Evil. They're still definitely relevant in Cosmic Crucible. There's Darkhold, right? There's Gamma. So those teams are still good. Is there any new teams that someone should at least consider outside of once you finally invested into your raid teams?
Yeah, so there's 2 big ones. So let's talk, the most important one is going to be your Superior 6, Sinister 6.
Okay.
That whole faction. If you just go Sinister 6, you'll see them all.
That's probably actually a better way to go about it. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. So these guys, they're going to hit so many counters in both your War and Crucible. And with those modes gaining more rewards, it's going to be very impactful. I see you don't even have them unlocked. But that's going to be like one of the main teams to focus on outside of raids. In fact, that's probably the main team to focus on outside of raids. Because of what they bring to you as far as like luxury clears go.
Yeah, I'm seeing that they're good in Alliance War, although some people don't care about War. But you're gonna want to get some good rewards, every season, because like especially your T4s, that's like a bottleneck right now, pretty big heavy one in the game. Like, you're gonna want to get into a good alliance that does War, and you're gonna want to get those War rewards. Green Goblin Classic. Now, he's a legendary character, and his trial is going on right now, and they're doing something rather different, with trials, right? Where they're going to be doing this bi-weekly sort of event thing, where you're going to be able to get them do their events a little bit faster over time. Yeah. So you should be able to have, and we'll talk about what specific team should you build for this. If you probably already have your rebirth, those are the most important nodes, right? You can still get through it with your rebirth, right? For like the specific team that you need for those ones.
Yes and no. So for the Goblin event, they did a really scummy way to do it. So
Yikes. Okay.
yeah, you need Rebirth for node 2, but then you have to use New Avengers for nodes 6 and 10.
Yikes. Okay.
So yeah, that's the only trial right now where they split it up like that. Like every other trial, you could just build up one team. Yeah, exactly right.
Okay.
So here's the thing. And I've had my opinion shift on this today, actually. And what they're going to be doing with the trials, it's not the same as when they did it with the Scourges. When they did it with the Scourges, it was a good thing. With them doing it with the trials is going to be a bad thing because there's probably going to be 1.5 million you need to score. And you're going to have to do difficulty 8 for that. So you're going to have to build up 2 teams for Goblin. People are going to have to build up Masters of Evil for Nova. And maybe they don't want to build up Masters of Evil because really Kang's an interesting character. But if you don't like Crucible, then the rest sucks, right?
Right.
And I guess Quicksilver too. So what they're doing, it's a double-edged sword for sure. But for someone like you, the consistency of it coming back every 2 weeks, you're at least going to be able to go in there and get the unlock very easily with the roster that you have from leftovers. So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We got to see the final numbers on it still, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's something to keep in mind. There's also Black Cat that is a legendary as well. She's definitely a part of the arena meta right now and could potentially continue to be that way in the future. In the future video, we can probably talk about Black Cat a little bit more, but I do want to shift gears a little bit here because I do want to talk about APOC, right? And there's been a question, I have seen it, from other people. Is Apocalypse still relevant right now in Marvel Strike Force? Should people, because I don't have Big Boy Apocalypse, should I still be pushing to try to get my Big Boy Apocalypse?
It's a tough question. I think the answer is always going to be yes, though.
Okay.
So the ISO 5 is a lot more available now. We get a lot of it in these alliance events, and if you're in an active alliance, you get that jackpot one time, and it's like, okay, I just got 4 characters done on the ISO. Because the ISO used to be the big block, right?
Okay.
Now for you, it's actually going to be the gear that's going to bother you. It's going to bother you to put gear tier 17 on your Psylocke when you want to put it on your Extreme team, right? Like that's just not going to feel good.
I have it available right now, but I don't have a ton of resources. Like even these right here.
Exactly.
As soon as I pop that, I'm down to 6. Sitting here, I'm down to 9.
So the good news is they're giving so much more of that gear tier 17 away. I think the gear tier 17 is actually even farmable on the nodes now. In the hard campaigns,
yeah, some of the pieces are, but it's a very small. I think it's like you can farm it 4 times. It's not very high, return back on that.
Yeah. So what I would still say is because of the Empowered Apocalypse change, because he starts with his ultimate and then he's getting 100% speed bar instead of 60% speed bar, so he immediately goes and he does a 60% of the enemy's max health plus his own damage and plus he's getting offense up. He's probably going to be meta so much longer than like Dormammu was. Like Dormammu, he did the revive thing, right? But then there were so many things that countered the revive. But how do you counter percentile damage? It has to be like this Miss Marvel reflexive taunt when he gets empowered thing. But how many times are they actually going to be able to lean into that before everyone starts clowning on them? So I think Apocalypse and his special is no joke either. Just having him big and tanky is nice. When people ask me, should I skip Apocalypse and just rush Skrull?
Yeah.
I think the pit stop to get Apocalypse doesn't slow you down as much as people think. Once you get to the far end game, you're really competing in events.
Yeah.
So I think he's worth the pit stop.
And I think from my understanding, and not just from you, but from others, I hear a lot of people saying, man, like APOC is really good in Dark Dimension. So you're kind of going to want to use him, in that section, because you can use them in 2 areas, right? You can use them both in the global section, and then you can use them in that legendary section, because it's legendary non-horseman, right? So you can use them in that section too. So you're actually really going to want to have Big Boy Apocalypse because he does a lot for you in those areas. So what I hear you saying is that APOC still that dude. you're still gonna want to grab him there. And then before your Gear 18s, you touched on this a little bit earlier. Should you be grabbing those in the store? Because I'll be honest with you, coming back, I'm trying to build up these teams for my raids. I was in an alliance that was doing Incursion 2, which is the newest version of the raid. So I was getting my cheeks were getting slapped in there. And so should I be buying Gear 18s, or is it one of those things where it's like if you're in a good enough alliance, you should be able to get enough orbs to grab these pieces, although it's at random?
So yeah, the raid influx is going to get you. It's going to catch up, right? Like you said, you're jumping in fresh, and you just don't have the teams. Like, they made the nodes for these teams, right? So if you're in an alliance that's cool with you kind of carrying on, like, I think you do focus on your leveling, but with the amount of gold they're giving away lately, and if you hit the jackpot in one of those crazy orbs, you get 100 million gold. Your gold is going further than your training materials go. Yeah,
you're talking about like this orb right here, the mega gold orb. If you get this, you could get up to 100 million gold. But there's other drops that you can get in there too that are pretty good. Okay.
But like, just long story short, your gold is going further than your training mats allow you to build up characters now. Okay, is the long and short of it. So eventually, you'll find, like, 5 weeks from now, you're going to be like, oh, why do I have 30 million gold and 0 training material? Well, I guess I'll start buying gear tier 18. And that's the way they've seemed to do it. And I would suspect when we start seeing the new gear tiers, it's going to be a crazy price in the store, and then it's going to make a lot more sense to us why they have it like that.
Yeah, which is already kind of in the game, right? Because I was doing some blitz, and I was like, is that a gear tier? So you're seeing the G19 red circle. So, or is it orange? I don't know, whichever one. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we should focus on? Obviously, we're trying to condense this a little bit here because this is already a long video, but we were trying to figure out, like, should we talk about Secret Defenders? Should we talk about, some of these other teams? Superior 6 we discussed already. We didn't talk about Secret Defenders. I feel like that is kind of one of those teams as well that is important like Superior 6, right? They're not a raid team, but your Secret Defenders are... A lot of the characters are usable in a lot of different game modes, right? Robbie is arena meta right now. Hard Light is arena meta right now. Black Cat, obviously, as a legendary character, she's usable. I mean, it's usually what I'm seeing, what I see people do on stream is like, it's Black Cat, Hard Light, then you have Robbie, and then there's Super Scroll and Apocalypse, right? Or people may swap in Quicksilver. Little things like that. So is Secret Defenders also kind of one of those teams, or do you think, less so than, because the arena meta will probably change, and also because their Superior 6 is better than them in some of the other game modes?
So Superior 6 is better than them in both game modes, but I would say Secret Defenders is like Infinity Watch was in their heyday, right? Yeah. So they're still in their heyday. The big difference with the game is they're just releasing a bunch of Infinity Watch quality teams. Okay. Secret Defenders, like, if I'm thinking, hey, I want to build for War and Crucible. Well, if I want to build both, then Secret Defenders is going to be a better investment than a team like New Avengers, right? Because New Avengers is obviously better in War, but can't hold a candle to Secret Defenders at Crucible. If I wanted to build it, let's do the opposite example. Like, I want to build a team for Crucible, but I also want it to be good in War. Well, Secret Defenders would probably give you more value than your Tangled Web team will at this point, right? Okay. So Secret Defenders is definitely in the conversation still for like that top 5 vying position of like the best cookie cutter team, if you will. Okay. So they're definitely in the conversation.
Okay, so bottom line, in terms of teams that you're looking at here, assuming that you still have your Death Seed, you still have all those Apocalypse teams, you already had your Masters of Evil, you already had your new Warriors, that you're ultimately building out these new raid teams. Be careful though with Bifrost, because Bifrost, by the time you watch this video, may be out of the meta. But apart from that, you're looking at Superior 6, and then you're looking at Secret Defenders as some of the other options. Is there any other team or character? Oh, Quicksilver, if you haven't built, he's definitely he's probably one of the top 5, right? A character in the game right now. So you definitely want to continue him. Anything else that we should shed some light on? I'm trying to think about myself. Oh, you know what we should talk about here are there's some new campaigns. There's a new ISO campaign, so people are going to want to run through and get through the ISO campaign. There's a new Nexus hard difficulty campaign. There are these incursion campaign. This is an incursion campaign right now where you're going to want to be able to get all the way through this so that you can make sure that you can actually farm now, I guess, red stars, although it's only certain characters that you can land the red stars for. But this helps to feed like your basic Red Star orbs, helps to feed your elite credits, which of course you're gonna need in the store. But I think that's it. Okay, apart from, I don't want to make this video convoluted, so I think we're gonna end it there. Any last words?
Yeah, man. Like, if you want the long and short of it, I'd say that there's 5 teams that rule the game right now that'll help you in all the modes. If you're starting from where you're started, Extreme, Hive Mind, Superior 6, Secret Defenders, Pegasus. Pegasus being the last of those 5, and then like you were talking about cookie cutter teams. I'm just happy to have you back, brother. I'm looking at your roster. I'm kind of wincing, like. we gotta fix that, homie.
Listen, started from the bottom, never left. All right, listen, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching, y'all being here and watching this. More videos are definitely going to be coming out on the channel. We are back streaming too, so if you are following me on Twitch or were following me on Twitch, then come back there as well. Dorky, where can they find you? Of course,
man, you guys find me on Twitch and on YouTube too. I'll throw Goofy my links. And you're gonna find me on this channel quite a bit. We're gonna be doing a lot of collabs now that you're back.
A lot of collabs. Roster reviews will be back. They will be back, guys. But listen, appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, guys. And as always, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.